In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a brand new layout in EasyCarve. Now, if you're new to EasyCarve and have never used it before, I highly suggest you watch the first two videos in this series so you can get a good grasp of how to set up tools and your machine and get started cutting your very first project. But for right now, we're going to look at EasyCarve from the angle that you actually have a paid account. So let's go ahead and jump right into the app so I can get started. So here I am now in the EasyCarve app, and you'll see that things have changed a little bit from when I was a trial user in the last two videos. The banner's gone on how to sign up for a EasyCarve account and also how to buy EasyCreate credits. So, but you can still see that I've got my two projects that I created before. So anything that I've created before I actually purchased my subscription is still available for me. If you let your subscription lapse though, and you've used any paid content, then you won't have access to those projects until you sign up again for either another month or for another year and get that special deal where you get 2 months free. But for right now, you'll see that we've got those two projects here. Now, a little bit of house cleaning here, and this will be really helpful down the road if you end up having all kinds of projects. We have a way to sort of manage those. So if you click on this little three dot icon here, we can rename or we can delete the project. So let's go in and we'll rename this to be Rose Drive House Sign. And we'll click OK, and that should update for me. There we go. So now it's named properly. And this is great because what I can do is I can keep that in mind. So if whoever lives at 10 Rose Drive, somebody notices their lovely sign and they want one for 12 Rose Drive, then I can just load up that file, change the number, and recalculate my toolpaths and recut it, and I'm ready to go. So that's really quite nice. You'll see that now we have the backgrounds listed, so you can easily start with a background if we want to by choosing any of the backgrounds that are here. You can scroll through those if you'd like, or you can click the View All button to look at them all. If I scroll down a little bit further, you'll see that because I have some EasyCreate content, EasyCreate is Vectric's AI 3D model generation, where it can create a bas-relief model, CNC-ready bas-relief model, by the way, from a text prompt or from a photo that you upload. So it's perfect if you really want to personalize your project with like a person in your family or maybe a pet's face or something like that. There's all kinds of things that you can do with EasyCreate. You will need some credits for that. If you've just signed up for EasyCarve, we'll give you 20 free credits to get you started. So that's a nice little way to give that a go if you want to. If I scroll down a little bit further, we've got the most popular models listed, and you can view all those if you'd like to. So we're going to scroll all the way to the top, and we're simply going to create a brand new project. Now, when you do that, you're going to be able to choose how you want to start your project. So I can choose from a background. So these backgrounds will have different layouts. They'll be regioned all differently like we saw in the last video. I can start with a design and make model, which I'll be able to choose from the raised version, the dished version, or the recessed version that is typically found in design and make. And then I can also go ahead and start right off the bat with an EasyCreate model. Now, if I choose either select a D&M model or an EasyCreate model, then I can go and add a background to that later on if I want to. Now, for this next project, what we're going to do is we are going to start off with a background. So I'm going to choose select a background, and you'll see that we've got tons of different backgrounds here to choose from. But for me, what I'd like to do is I'd like to type in the word arrow. And I like this arrow plank background. It's really kind of universally usable for all kinds of different things, pointing people in the right direction for your parties, maybe your pool in the backyard, maybe the way to find the way home, or maybe even for an Easter sign to show people where the Easter Bunny Trail is. Once that's all loaded in, you'll see that in the 3D view, we have one of the layouts already selected for you. And then over here on our left-hand side, we have some other layouts that are available to you. And of course, the regions are identified in purple. So I can just go ahead and select through those until I find the one that I like. Again, I'm looking at the actual regions that are here. Now, all of these regions so far have been identified as a multi-use region. So they can either accept text or they can accept a model. So that's perfect. Just need to find the right one for me. So I think that this one is a great place to start. I've got two nice areas to put either a model or text. And I've got a kind of an idea of what I want to create. So let's go with that one for now. So I'm going to go back to my layout. Now what I'd like to do is add in a model to this top region. So to do that, I can either select the add button over here on my left-hand side, or I can just simply go ahead and click in the region, and then I'll be given a little drop down that says add model or add text. In this case, I'm going to add a model, so I'll select that. And I'll be brought over to my model library, or my model browser, you could call it. At the very top, you'll see we have a search button. So if I want to search for some content from Design and Make or through my EasyCreate content, I can do that. If by some chance I've gone and, well, I had my instance of EasyCarve open, I've gone over to the EasyCreate website and either created a new EasyCreate model that I'd like to use in my layout, then I might need to refresh in order to be able to see it show up in my library here. So that's why we have a refresh button there. If I want to go ahead right now and create or upload create a model from a prompt, or upload a photo to have EasyCreate create me a relief for that, I can do that right from here. Below, you can see I have all the models shown. The gray ones with the EasyCreate logo in the corner are obviously from EasyCreate, and the other ones are from the Design and Make library. On the right-hand side, there's an option here for background. It's grayed out because it knows that I'm selecting a model, not a background. I can sort, I can go ahead then and also hide and show different content if I'd like to. If I'm not interested in the Design and Make stuff, I can hide that. If I don't want to see the EasyCreate stuff in there, I can hide that as well, or I can have both showing up like I have right now. And then I can filter those if I would like to. For right now, if I look through all of my models, this is the one I really want. Now, I created this model with EasyCreate by using the prompt eagle landing on a log, and I think it turned out really nice. So I want to use that in this particular layout. So by clicking on that, we're going to go ahead and import that into our project, and you'll see that it's sitting in that region as I expected it would. Now, as I said in the last video that we did, we've got some options over here on our right-hand side. We can rotate that model if we'd like to. We can mirror that model if we'd like to. We can adjust the position that it is in the sort of the depth in our model if we want to. Right now, it's perfectly fine. It's sitting proud. It's sitting on top of that sign, which is exactly what I want. If I would like to, I could put it into one of these fit styles, so I can put it in a dish or a recess if I want to, as I showed you in the last video. But in this case, really what I want to do is I want to make it as big as I can and kind of hang it off the top of this sign. So I'm going to scale this up as big as I can get it. Now, I can make these as big as 200% larger than the perfect fit for that region. So that's as big as that model can get, which I think is pretty substantial. I can grab the crosshair in the middle and move it up a little bit. And now I've got it positioned where I think I'd like it to have, so that the eagle's kind of hanging off the top of my sign, which looks really nice. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Now, if I ever wanted to put that eagle back in the same size that it originally came in, then I can just double click on the crosshair in the center and it will make it that size that we initially saw it when it got imported in. But that's perfect. Now, if for some reason I wanted to edit that model, I know it's was made in EasyCreate, and so does our software. So I can use one of these two icons up here. I can swap it out if I would like to with text or a model, or I can click this button right here and it will open it back up into EasyCreate, so I can use the EasyCreate editing tools to make any modifications I want to that model. I'm not going to do that right now, but you can just see how easy that is. And that looks really, I think that's pretty good. So let's go back to our layout again. Let's look straight down on our job. And now what I want to do is add in some text to the bottom here. So I'm going to click in that region. I'm going to say add some text, and then I want to type in eagle's nest point. I remember when I was a kid, we used to go on all those sort of road trips, and there would always be places where you could go and look for or watch sort of the birds and their nesting areas. And so this might be a nice sign that you could put up, pointing people in the direction of where they could see a beautiful eagle's nest. So that looks really great. I like that. Let's go back to our layout again. Looks really good, except for I just noticed that my sign is pointing the wrong direction. It's pointing to the right, and really it should go to the left. So I'm going to go up to my plank and arrow, and I'm going to select that. And I'm going to mirror that left to right. Now, when I do that, you're going to notice that something happens. All of my regions follow that mirroring. So what I'm going to need to do is to go into each one of those regions again, just by selecting them here in my 3D view and flipping that guy over, and also grabbing that one there and flipping it over, the text one. So everything now is back as it should be. It's really important to keep that in mind, because if you start with the background and before you put any content in it, you decide to rotate it or mirror it, then you'll end up noticing that when you start to type in or put in some content, it may be reversed to what you expect it to be. So just keep in mind that you might need to go in and rotate or flip those regions around, okay? So let's go back to our layout for a second. Now, I think that looks really good. I'm really quite happy with that. There's one region that you haven't seen so far yet in either one of these 3 videos, and that's text on a curve. So some layouts will have text that's kind of curved or on like a wave or something like that. That is a special region that you can only put one line of text on. You can't put multiple lines of text, so keep that in mind. And just remember that you will have to flip those, because that will look a little funny if it's the wrong way around, if you rotate your backgrounds or flip your backgrounds. That's great. I'm really happy with that. So let's go ahead and move on to the next phase of our design, which is setting up our position and size. So right now, we're going to zoom in and we're going to make the height of this, we're going to make it about 10 inches. It needs to be quite a substantial size. Oh, that's really big. Let's make that 8 inches. That's probably better. Make it 24. It's about a foot long. So that's really good. I like that. The thickness of it is about 1.5 inches thick, which is actually pretty decent. So if I had a piece of material that was 1.5 inches thick, that would be great. Let's just go ahead and shrink this down to be 1.25, because that might be a little bit easier to handle. That's perfect. And you'll see we've got that little red warning sign there, which if I click that again, it'll tell me that the model depth is greater than my material thickness, so that's no problem. In our next step, we can rectify that. Now also, this is the point where I can go ahead and rotate the orientation of my project as I might lay it out on my CNC machine. So my CNC machine might be wider than it is tall, or taller than it is wide, and I might need to rotate my whole layout to fit on my machine. So that's where you'd use these operations here. We don't need to worry about that right now. So we're just going to move on to setting up our material. We're going to be working in inches. Going to be using hardwood. This is going to be outside probably, so we're going to make sure we have nice hardwood for that. Our thickness we're going to make be 1.5 inches thick for our material. We're probably going to have to glue some of that up, but that will look really nice in the end when it's all cut. We're going to push our model all the way to the top of our material, which is great. And let's move on to our material origin. We're going to start cutting at the bottom left-hand corner of our job. We're going to be zeroing off our material surface. No offsets there, so that's great. Let's move on to our toolpaths. Now, we're going to be selecting our machine. We only have one machine, so we're just going to go ahead and move right on past that. If I wanted to add in another machine, I could do it from here, or I could do it from my global settings over here in the corner. But we're just going to leave it as it is. Now let's move on to our toolpaths. And now we're going to go and add in some tabs, because I'm going to cut this out of my my material. I'm going to need some way to hold it in. I could use double-sided tape to hold it down on my machine. I don't have a vacuum table, so that's not going to work. So I'm going to need to add in some tabs. So let's click plus on that. Now, one thing that's really nice about the tabs here in EasyCarve is that I can set an initial size. So 1/2 inch by 0.1 inch thick, and I can drop one in on the border here, and you'll see that we'll make it. That looks really nice. That's a good size for that. We'll put another one maybe over here, and we'll put one here and one down here. Now, what if I wanted to make one a slightly different size? I only really want one here, but I want it to be quite large. So now what I can do is I can change the width of this to be maybe 3/4 of an inch, and I can drop one in there, and you'll see that now I have a larger tab. So I can vary the size of my tabs depending on where they are on my job, which is really a really nice feature. Okay, let's go back to our toolpaths list and let's add in our next toolpath. Now, like a lot of these 3D carvings, really you're going to have 3 to 4 toolpaths. You're going to have a roughing toolpath to get rid of most of your material, finishing toolpath to get all that nice detail showing up, a V-carving toolpath if you happen to have text on it, and then a cutout toolpath. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to create a quick roughing toolpath. We use a 1/4 inch end mill for that. So I'll go ahead and create that. Once that's done, we'll take a look at it, and that looks really good, quite nice. I like that a lot. It looks a little rough, but that's the nature of it. It should look a little rough. So now let's go back to our toolpaths list, and let's add in a finishing toolpath. We'll use that 1/8 inch ball nose that we had set up before in our previous, our first project that we looked at. I'll just recalculate that now. And that looks really good. Lots of nice detail. Looks really, really good. That's gonna look great. Okay, let's go back to our toolpaths list. Let's add in another toolpath, a V-carving toolpath. Again, we've got that nice 60-degree V-bit in there. If I did need to add a new tool, I certainly could add a different tool if I'd like to, just by dropping that down. I don't want to. That's a perfect tool for this kind of a job. We'll just go ahead and calculate that. We'll preview that. Oh, that looks perfect. Nothing wrong with that at all. Let's go back to our toolpaths list, and we're going to add in a toolpath. Our last toolpath will be a cutout toolpath. And this is where the app is going to start to think about where your tabs are. We can calculate that, and you'll see that our tabs should show up where we put them. There's one there, there's two at the end there, and then two over there. That looks exactly like what I'm hoping things are going to be. Back to my toolpath list, and that's great. I can review what I see there. I can send it to a client if I want to, but I think that all looks really nice, so I'm happy with that. Let's go to our next, let's go to our export our toolpath steps. Now this is where I highly suggest that you take a look at the this little summary up here that we have. If you've got anything there that looks out of place or wrong, now's the time to fix it. I've chosen the right post processor for my machine, and that looks great. It's a Gerbil post, that's perfect. Choose the toolpaths I want to save out, and then I can export those out. Now, one of the things that's also kind of interesting that I never pointed out before, and thank you for hanging around this long, is that you can actually export out an image of this preview. So you could send this off to a customer, you could put it on your website if you wanted to, or you could, essentially, I'm a terrible speller, so I could send this off to somebody to have them proof it and then return the okay or any changes that need to be made just by using that export right there. So that's great. If I've exported out my toolpaths, I can save them off to a USB drive, or I can send them directly to my CNC machine and get this thing cutting. That's really all you need to do. Well, as the last video in this series so far, hopefully you've got enough stuff to get you started getting into EasyCarve, giving it a shot right from the very first, where maybe you're a trial user, up to maybe now where you're looking to create your own custom projects right from scratch. And with backgrounds and all the different layouts you have, with the EasyCreate integration, you can customize these as much as you would like to come up with the perfect projects to create on your CNC machine. Hope you have lots of fun, and I hope that you really enjoyed this series of videos.